Do you put all your lives on YouTube?
No. I only did the first one, actually.
You didn't put any of the other ones on?
Mm-mm.
But I was kind of following along with your bag. Was that the only one you posted the bag?
The tote bag?
Yeah.
Or the boxy bag, yeah.
Was that the only one that you posted?
Yes. Yes. We've got Finn here today. He's going to be helping us out. He's chewing the cord. Awesome. Awesome. Going to be working on some branding tags today, and we're going to we're going to talk a lot about craft fairs today, in-person craft fairs. So if you guys are a small business and you do in-person craft shows, craft events, that's probably going to be a big help. We're also, again, going to talk about how to make your own branding tags. I used my Cricut Design Space, but you can use Canva. You could use, any like Word or, I don't know, even a Google Google Doc, Google Spreadsheet, whatever you want to use. Yeah, I suppose. But anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So, so let me know in the comments as far as, if you're a small business owner, do you do in-person events? I would love to hear so that we know kind of who's in here, and hopefully everyone will be able to share some of their tips and tricks and pointers. And again, we will be getting started here pretty shortly. Give it a few more minutes. Just to let people join. We did have over 30 people register, so hopefully everyone will get notified and come. So in the meantime, I do have my little helper here, Finn. He's going to be sleeping on the job already. There's Tara. Hi, Tara. There's Finn, my little grand kitty. Yes, he is. He's my little sweetie pie. Hello. So my daughter's here too.
I'm also here.
She is also here. Hi, Lori. Finn is here. Yes. Oh, thank you for the heart. But yes, they are here through Easter. So never sold any. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. So yes, he is so cute. He is a very long boy,
Very long.
but his markings are just so pretty. So pretty. And he is a typical orange boy, so yeah. But yeah, so if you've never done an in-person event, this is going to be really nice for you to learn. And again, hopefully other people will, I know, he is a beauty. Hi, Becky. To learn about doing in-person events. I started back in the fall of 22. I opened my little small business in January of 22. And then our small town hosts a big fall event. It's a 3-day event every September. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this, go big, go home, right? So I did. I sent in my registration for it. It's a juried show. They accepted my my application. So then I was like, oh boy, now what do I do?
Gotta figure out this out.
Gotta figure this out. So that first show was definitely not my most stellar show. But since then I have learned and grown a lot. And I now typically will get a double like not a 10 by 10, but a 10 by 20 space. So yeah, I've definitely outgrown the single space, but I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for it at all. It was like, oh God, I'm applying, but yeah, I didn't think they would let me in because I had never done anything before. But yeah, then it was, okay, we really got to figure this out. So we did. But again, the bigger thing is we're going to talk about making the tags to start with tonight. So again, I've had a lot of people on all of my lives ask how I make my tags. What do I use to make my tags? And all of that. And thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate that. So my biggest thing is obviously the supplies of what I use. He is such an orange boy.
Asleep?
He is asleep. He is sleeping on the job. My little supervisor is not doing much supervising. But anyway, Oh, sorry to wake you, Finn. So this is the one that I use. Actually, it looks like this, or it looks like it's the same thing though. Let's see if I can get that to stay. Sorry, Finn. Quick Fuse or the iron-on quilt label fabric sheets. Yeah, exactly. He does say, this is my space tonight. He's like, I'm at Gma's house. Yeah, excuse us. Don't let us disturb you. You got that right. Yes, Finn. And then he's like a toddler. He likes to eat everything. So, so these are the two that I have for doing the iron-on style. Yes, thank you, Finn. And these are good for, obviously, any, if you're going to do a small label that you actually do want to sew onto anything. That's what I use for my wristlet keychains. And let me flip you around. So I've used those on my wristlet keychains, but I've also been starting to use them on my little zipper pouches. No, the cozies I do the sew-in style. So, and on the bookmarks I do the sew-in style. But again, for the iron-on style, you can still sew it in place, which is the nice thing about it. Because again, obviously, if you're using a small, or you've designed a small branding tag, it's very hard to sew it in place without it shifting around and moving, and I've learned that the hard way. So definitely the iron-on style is a better one to use for, again, those small tags whenever possible. But there are times when you will find that the iron-on isn't going to work. And again, depending on what you want it to look like and what purpose you're serving. So for example, like with my plate cozies, I wanted to just have a little tag down at the bottom that has my little business name on it, but I made it two-sided because these are reversible, so I wanted it to be seen on both sides. What stabilizer is used in the keychain? Can flex foam be used? It could be. It just might be a bit thick for it. If you do use the flex foam, only use it on like a 1-inch section of the strip. Don't put it on the entire section because again, it's going to be, I know, Lori, it's so pretty. It would be too thick to put it on the entire thing. Otherwise, use the Pellin 809. If you were to use the ones on the cozy for the bags, where would you sew it? Well, that's just it. Again, I feel like that's part of your branding, and you would have to decide where you would want to put that. And again, for me, I just felt like the iron-on style would have been, that's how I wanted my brand to look. But I was thinking, if I can move Finn out of the way or shift him so he doesn't eat my cord. The other spot that I would think about would be, if you do want to have that style, you could put it in the side seam and have it just kind of stick out there. Finn, stop. Hey. Hey. Okay, yeah, he's eating the cord. We might have to move him out of here.
Put his blanket back. Put his blanket back. I'm painting my nails.
Okay. Here we go, Finn. Let's go over to the other side. All right, sorry, guys. Technical difficulties with our cat. Who's going to explore now? Yeah. I know, right? So, again, as far as doing on the bags, like on this style little zipper pouch, again, I would think about putting it along the seam, the side seam. But because otherwise I just don't know where else you could put it nicely, I guess. Because again, when you do your zipper, when you sew in the zipper in place, it's just going to flop. And again, I don't think it would look right. So that's why yes, hello kitty, that's Finn. So that's why I decided to do the iron-on style and then sew it in place. Yes. Yeah, I have that sew-in kind too. And again, for this style of a bag, that's kind of where I decided to put it. But again, the sew-in style is also good for, like I make little fabric bookmarks. And I've got that just at the bottom there. And again, same thing, it's the double-sided. So you can see it on both sides, obviously, but again, it's personal preference. Like on these, you easily could put one on the back, you know, in the middle or down on a corner. That would be fine too. But again, it's just about really identifying your brand and just putting your name on something. I don't know. Again, I talk about it a lot with regards to your brand. If you're trying to build your little small business into a bigger small business, obviously you want your name recognizable, and you want, you know, if somebody buys something from you, for example, from an in-person craft fair, and they get it home and they're like, oh my gosh, you got to see this cute little, you know, zipper pouch or whatever they bought. And if they can't remember your name, how are they going to refer other people to you? So those little tags add so much. I know they do, right? It just levels it up quite a bit, I think. Granted, it's my opinion, but I definitely feel like it does. And it just adds more, I think, credibility to your business too, because it's showing that you do take that extra step and you're caring a little bit more about your products. And I think of it from a consumer perspective too. If I'm going out and, you know, wanting to buy something from a small crafter at a craft fair, obviously if I can see that they're paying close attention to the details, it means a lot to me. So again, I just really think that it means a lot to do that extra step. So exactly, your name is on it, right? And you want it to be a good product, good quality product that, you know, people will refer other people to you for. So, all right. So that being said, let's get into how to actually make some of these tags. So I do have a little bit of a different setup here. So I'm hoping that it's going to work. Hey, Julie, I'm glad you made it. We're just getting started with how to make the tags. So it looks like we've got 48 people in here now. So hopefully the 30, I think it was 32 that registered have made it in. So now we will get started. And again, the way I typically do it is I do generally use my Cricut Design Space. So obviously if you do not have a Cricut, there's other ways you can do it, but that's what I'm going to go over first. Thank you for the rose. Oh, Kelly's here. Hi, Kelly. I am going to go over the Design Space first. Okay. So let's get set up. Oh, is he laying down?
Yeah.
Oh.
The blanket back.
Yep. He found some of Gma's fabric and he's laying down. So he's being quiet now. So we're going to let the baby rest. And in the meantime, we're going to turn this around. All right. So let's get you set up here. All right. And my daughter had made a tag, but we're going to start new. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the best view, but I will try to do the best I can for this, guys. All right. So for those of you who are not familiar with Cricut Design Space, that is the software that you need to use with your Cricut. So any Cricut that you own can be used with Design Space. So just keep that in mind, I guess. I have a Maker 3 that I use, and the Maker 3 is able to cut multiple types of materials, anything from fabric to vinyl to, actually it can do like very thin pieces of wood. I know, yes, I am a Rebecca. I know. Actually, it's funny because my best friend in high school was also a Rebecca, but she went by Becky. So, okay, so here we are in Design Space, and this is just when you first open it up, this is the screen that you end up getting. So the home screen has all kinds of different designs that you obviously can scroll through, and you can just search for any type of design already made. But for what I'm going to be doing, obviously I'm going to be using mostly just my font, my logo, and that kind of thing. So in here, you're going to just start a new project. You just click on new. So that's how you get started. And then if you have a logo, for example, that you want on your tag, maybe that's all you have and you just want your logo on there. All you would have to do is upload that. So you click on the upload button. You're going to upload an image, and then from your computer, and I generally do a lot of the design things on my desktop just because I feel like there's a lot more capabilities in using that versus just on my iPad. So I guess just keep that in mind. Again, this is on my desktop. So, but obviously you would end up just opening your, wherever your logo is, and you would drop it in here. So if I did that, I'm just going to go into here. I will look for my logo. And I'm just going to upload whatever one. So when you upload that, you just hit continue. And for the purpose of what I'm doing, I don't need to remove the background just because it's going to have a white background anyway. But if you wanted to, you can remove the background. And then I'm left with the main part of the logo. But because the rose in my logo is pretty thin, which you can't see, let's do that. This is going to be fun. It ended up basically taking out that rose, so I'm going to end up just reverting it back to the original image. We're going to click on apply and continue, and then you've got this screen where it says convert upload to, and because you're going to end up doing things as a print then cut, you want it as a flat graphic. So you're going to click flat graphic and then click on continue. Obviously you want to name it and then organize it wherever you want it, and then hit upload, and then it will automatically be on your canvas in Design Space. So obviously this is now a 7-inch square that I'm not going to be able to put on a tag. So obviously we need to make that smaller, right? So I'm just going to shrink that down. And I just need to decide exactly what size tag I want to make. So I guess, for the sake of what I'm doing right now, maybe we'll just make more of, like this style, the one that I have on here. So I'm just going to take a quick measurement, and we're looking at, it's just 1.5 inches wide and 3/4 of an inch tall. So we're going to take that, and I'm going to take a shape, which over on the left side panel, if you click on shapes, all of those options come up. Now, the ones on the top here are all free. The ones down on the bottom are included if you obviously subscribe to their, design access, which I do have, but for the sake of today, we're going to use a free shape. So I'm just going to pull up a square, and then what I'm going to end up doing is making it into the size that I wanted it to be. So we said it was 1.5 inches by 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to come up to the top. See if I can make sure you guys can see. So up on the top, right up here, is where I'm going to change that to 1.5 inches. And then because it's a square, this little lock button automatically wants to lock and keep it a square. But I want to unlock that and change the height to 0.75 to be 3/4 of an inch. So now you can see my little square has turned into a rectangle, which is exactly what I want it to be. So that being said, there we go. Okay. So that being said, now I've got my logo already here. So it's already behind the rectangle square. I want to make sure that that's all the way in the front. So I'm just going to change that. So all I did is right click, and then it pops up as far as how you want to, what you want to do with it. You can cut it, you can copy it, you can paste it, you can duplicate it, delete. And I just clicked on bring to front because I want it to be right in the front so I can actually see where it is. So I'm just going to shrink it down by clicking on the one corner and then just kind of just making it small so that I can see how much smaller it's getting. And it does tell you the size of it right in this little black box up above it. So right now it's saying it's 1.53 inches square. So obviously my rectangle that I want is 1.5 inches. So I do need that width to be even smaller. And again, you just want to think ahead about your design and figure out, you know, how big do you actually want that to be inside of that shape, right? So again, I'm just going to kind of center it in there. And then what I'm going to do is just click anywhere on the outside of those two items. So I'm going to click my left mouse button and drag so it's encompassing both of those shapes, all right? And then all you're going to do, because I want to align those, I want to center those. So I'm going to click up at the top here where it says align, and I'm going to click on center. And that's going to center it both vertically and horizontally. And then what I want to do is actually, I'm going to end up slicing this. All right. So I want to basically turn my rectangle or turn my square into the rectangle. So we're Levette's Crafty Creations. We are working on, I'm showing you guys how I make my own branding tags. So I'm in Design Space right now because that's where I tend to do them. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Before I slice this, I'm going to change my rectangle into a white rectangle from the black. And then I'm going to, again, highlight both of them by just clicking and dragging. And then I'm going to hit slice. And then on the right side, over here, it's now got basically what has been sliced out. So I've got the top and the bottom up here of the square. So I just want to delete that. I don't need that anymore. I want to get rid of, well, just to see what's there. Okay, so that I can just get rid of as well because that's just a rectangle out of, or a rectangle cut out of the square. So I'm going to delete that. And then I'm just left with these two pieces, which I want to actually combine together. So I want to get those grouped because I want those to stay together. Oh, sorry guys. Forgot to pan back over. I'm going to make that bigger too so that we can see. So now I've just, and to group them, you can click and highlight and then right click. And at the top is the first option is group. So I already grouped it. That's why it's grayed out. And now what you also need to do, make sure you guys can see. So we want to switch the operation because right now the machine is going to think that it's a basic cut. So it thinks it wants to cut this out for me because I haven't told it otherwise. Oh, and there's Susan. Hi, Susan. Yeah, so we're going to change that from basic cut to a print then cut because you're going to end up printing this first and then it's going to cut it out. And that's why I like to do this on my Cricut because then I don't have to cut out individual labels. I let the machine do it for me, which to me is a no-brainer, right? Okay, so now we're still at 1.5 by 0.75. Right? That's the rectangle shape that I wanted. I've got my design in there. I've got it listed as a print then cut. Oh, thanks for the heart. And so now we're going to click on attach. Okay. So now by attaching, it's basically telling the machine that they're not just grouped together, but they are attached together. Okay. And then now at the bottom right, down here, you're going to click on flatten. And flatten is what really makes it literally just flatten out. It's all one piece. And now because we attached it, it's going to cut out the shape of the rectangle. So again, now we've done all of our steps. So theoretically, when you go to click on make it, which is up here, make, we're going to click that. Oh, I didn't save my project, so it's telling me, hey, dummy, save your project. So we're going to save this as, I'm just going to do the 1.5 by 0.75 branding tag. And we're going to put that right in my Crafting Therapy Shop collection. So when I go to make it, it automatically defaults to this long mat. And I don't want to do that because to print it, the labels come in 8.5 by 11 sheets. So that's as big as I want that to be. So on the left panel, right over here in your drop down box, your material size is going to be your 8.5 by 11. So now you can see it has changed, right? Now it's just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So do you want to be my moderator?
I can be your moderator.
Okay. Yay.
Now everybody gets to chat with me.
Yes. So now my daughter Megan is going to be moderating, so she can see all the comments and she'll let me know if there's questions I need to answer. She got me. Good. Thank you. Okay. So obviously we don't want to waste all of this cuttable space. And again, with Cricut, because of how it does the registration marks, you are restricted a little bit in the amount that you can put on your 8.5 by 11 sheet. But I'll tell you, you're going to fit a lot of these on there, even though we put them as 1.5 by 3/4 of an inch. So all you need to do is over on the left side, right up here, project copies. Right now it's set to 1, and that's why there is only 1 on the page. So if we change that, and I don't know how many are going to fit on here, I honestly don't remember, so I'm going to try 48. And it will automatically try to put them on the paper. Yep, so I've got a little too many because now it's created a second mat for me. So if I click on that, it's going to tell me that I have 4 that didn't fit on that first mat. So I'm just going to change my my project copy number to 44.
Is this going to be saved somewhere? Amy said she's not home to follow along.
Oh, okay.
You could try.
I could I can try to post this one on my YouTube channel because I don't think this one's going to be super, super long. So yeah, we can put this up on YouTube. So yeah, it should be up there.
Okay.
Thanks for asking. Okay, so now we can put this up on YouTube. So yeah, it should be up there.
Okay.
Thanks for asking. Okay, so now it's aligned them on its own. So I don't really need to shift anything around, but I'll be honest, there are times that I'm like, oh my gosh, there's enough space down here. I could squeeze in 1 or 2 more. And you can do that just by going over to that left side. You can, so if I put it back up, say to 45, and it's going to put that 1 extra one on that second mat, right? So here's that second mat with the 1 extra. If you want to move that onto the other mat, you just click on the 3 dots and it says move object or hide selected. So I'm going to try to move that object and I'm going to pick which mat to move it to. I'm going to hit on confirm. And it automatically is going to put it up on the top left corner. So I just click it and drag it, and then I can pull it down to the bottom. But I can see that it is already covering the rows of my branding tag. So I'm actually just going to say forget it. I'm not going to put it on there, and I'm going to click that 3 dots again and hit hide selected. And that just moves it out of the way.
I can't really see much.
No? Okay.
Maybe it's just on the iPad, but there we go. I don't know what's going on. There we go.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Will the video be posted to YouTube? Yes.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to post this live on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Okay. So now we're going to hit continue down on the bottom right. And then I had already turned my machine on. So it's going to connect to my machine via Bluetooth. And then I'm going to click on send. Oh, can't see. Sorry, guys.
I wasn't even looking at the iPad. I was staring at your screen a lot. Like,
Wow, yeah. So then we're going to click on send to printer.
I
Okay.
never knew how the project counter worked. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So when we get the print setup page, all right, that's what this is. So it's basically asking you, okay, what printer are you going to send it to? How many copies of that do you want printed out? Add the bleed. Now, if you guys don't know what bleed is, so what Cricut tries to do.
Okay.
Okay. So the ad bleed right now is toggled on, and it's going to toggle on for every print then cut project that you do. For these in particular, I turn that off. What the ad bleed does is if I had a design that had a color background, the ad bleed is going to add just a little bit of an extra border almost of whatever color is on the outside edge of your design to allow for a little bit of a shift if it's not reading those registration marks exactly the way it needs to. So if you try to put that ad bleed on, or if the ad bleed is on and you don't realize it and you print everything and you see everything is a blurry mess, that is the problem. You've got to go back in and toggle that ad bleed off, okay? So that's what that is. I always, for my printer, I use an Epson 3850, just an inkjet printer, but I always click the Use System Dialog box because that's going to allow you to change like the quality of your print. You can try it with just your standard print and not use the system dialog and just click print if you have, confidence that your printer will do a great job. But I know for me, I have tried it both ways, and I have found that by far turning the system dialog on really helps to enhance the quality of my printing.
You said they love using print and cut for all the pricing tags.
Yes, there you go. And I love my thermal printer for all my pricing tags. But I do use my print then cut for like the wraps on my keychains and a lot of other things. So packaging wise, I guess. So system dialog I clicked on, and then I clicked print, and this box came up, and that's just my general printing box. So I just make sure that I have the right printer highlighted, and then I click on preferences. And preferences is going to bring up that other box, and that's where I can really dial in what I want this to print out like. So for paper type on my Epson, I switch it to presentation paper matte. And I've just found that that really gives a nice crisp, nice high quality print. And I also switch underneath where it says quality, I switch that from standard to high. So it's a high quality print on a presentation paper matte.
Are these sublimated?
These are not sublimated. No, this is literally just using your inkjet printer to print directly on what is actually cotton fabric. So these sheets are actually made out of cotton. And that's part of why I use them, because the sheets you can actually put on your cozies so they can be in the microwave, which is awesome. So yeah, it's actually on printable cotton. All right, so I'm only going to do one sheet of this. So I've got my copies at 1. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to make sure that my paper, my sheet, and you just have to know how your paper has to go into your printer. I know I have to put mine in face down. So I'm going to try to turn to where I'm going to my printer. What's that?
How would you figure that out?
So,
I would probably just put like marker on one side of a regular sheet and then fill it in.
Well, I know like on my printer,
Does it say?
It does say, and I'm going to try to take this off, damaging anything. Okay, so like on my printer, in where I have my paper, so mine's a front loading, mine actually has, the diagrams. So I know this is the one I'm following. So it's going to have the printable side is going to be face down. So,
which is that cotton side.
So exactly. So on these, you're going to have, there's a shiny side and then there's a matte side. The matte side is the side that gets printed on. Think about it as the shiny side is the glue side. So I'm just going to put that in face down and I'm going to push that back in. And my printer is going to say, hey, what kind of paper are you using? And I'm still going to say it's the presentation matte. So we're going to hit the home button. Everything's good. And then we're going to come back to the computer and we're going to click print. And that's going to send it to my printer. So I can hear that. That's going to get started. And because I'm doing the high quality print, it is going to take a little bit of extra time for that to happen. But in the meantime, Design Space has told me this. They want you to verify the print quality. So it's going to tell you that, we've got the registration marks, up these black marks, and it does print out a little arrow. So it's going to tell you which way is the top, because sometimes you do print stuff out and you don't know which way is the top that needs to go into your machine first. So that is a nice feature that they've done. So we're going to click done. And then in the meantime, while that's still printing, after I clicked done, it's going to ask you, hey, what's your base material? What are you putting into the Cricut? What is it going to be cutting out? And I've just found that choosing the cotton, and if you don't see it there, I know for me, it's got browse all materials, and you can click on that and you can actually just search for it in a box, or you can scroll down. And I just have that bookmarked as a favorite because I use it a lot. So with the cutting the cotton, my printer brand is an Epson. I've got a 3850. It's an ET 3850. It's the eco tank that you actually fill the reservoirs. And I have a 28, or another 3850, for my sublimation printer. So that one has the sublimation ink that I don't use for my tags, but use it for other things. But have this one for just my everyday use and for my tags. Yeah, you're welcome. So when you do select cotton in Design Space for your Cricut, you do need to use the rotary cutter blade. So as that's printing, we'll come over to, hi Megan. We're going to come over to the Cricut. Oh, and here's the Finny boy, our sleepy supervisor. Yep, sorry, bub. So again, the rotary cutter literally is a teeny tiny rotary cutting blade. All right. So again, it can cut through, and I'm sorry, that's blurry. There you go.
Cut these by hand?
Yes, they can be cut by hand. I've done it before, actually. It takes a long time. And like if I'm doing a white background, it's hard to see exactly where you're going to be cutting.
But isn't it theoretically in a line that you could use like your scrapbooking?
Yes, it is. And you can kind of see already as it's coming out. So again, that's how it ends up getting printed. So yeah, you definitely could use like a paper cutting tool, like one of these, for example, with this type of a thing.
Or your fabric rotary cutter.
Yes, you could use the fabric rotary cutter. I don't have a Cricut, but I can still use DS, right? Then hand cut them. Honestly, Design Space. Honestly, I think you can. That would be a good question. I don't exactly know, but I think you could, because it is a free software tool. So
yeah, because you don't need to set it up to your printer just to print it on the actual thing.
Right. When you go to make it, it's going to basically say, "Where's your Cricut?"
Yeah,
it's going to be searching for it.
Inkjet, that'll be fine. It doesn't know the difference.
Right. Yeah, you probably could. But again, another option is you can design in Canva. Canva is a free software program as well. So if you're familiar with Canva, you could definitely design it on there and then just print it, as a PDF even, or a PNG or whatever, JPEG, any of those. So yeah, and again, a lot of people love Canva. I love Canva for a lot of different things too. But
for my teacher stuff, I do a lot of stuff on Canva.
Yeah, a lot of people use Canva for a lot of different things. So, so definitely that is another option. So then, just continuing on the Cricut side of things, let me hook over here. Got a totally different setup today, guys. All right, so with the Cricut, you have a mat that is sticky, has a cover on it, and then now we've got a little sticky side. So I just take this, and again, it's got my little arrow, so I know that's going to be at the top of my mat because that's going to go into the machine first. So I'm just going to get that on my mat, and I will show you once I get it all lined up. Now this one that we're doing is the iron-on brand, or iron-on style. So this one we don't have to iron to heat set the ink in place, because obviously you're going to be ironing this onto whatever it is you're going to be putting it on. So that's how the ink gets set. So you don't have to worry about that. Now with the sew-in style, that one I do iron in place, or I iron the ink in place just to set the heat. So we're going to end up taking this. We're going to end up putting it into the Cricut, but because I didn't tell the Cricut what kind of material or how I want it cut yet, I've got to do that first before it will want to accept it into the machine. So we're going to come back over here. We're going to click on that cotton, and we're going to click on pressure more. And again, I have the Maker 3, so that gives me that option. So there are different Cricut machines that work a little bit differently, but that's how mine works in Design Space. Hi again.
This is really fun.
I know, right? Okay, so then now my Cricut's blinking saying, hey, where's the mat? So I'm going to get that set in place. So it just goes underneath these little guide rails, and then I hit the button, so it's going to accept it in. It'll pull it in. And then essentially what it's going to do is check out to make sure I've got the right blade in place. It's going to make sure I've got the right size mat. I had a Cricut and just never made friends with it. Oh, well, again, it's a great tool to use for a lot of different things. So now my little arrow is blinking, so I'm going to click that. What I like to do for my print then cut is just close my lid, and then typically I'm going to put something in front of it, because the darker that it is, the easier it can read those registration marks, and it will be more accurate. So if I go in here, you can see how it's got that light on. And if it's in a brightly lit area, it's not going to read those registration marks as well. Oh, and what are we making? We're working on our own labels, branding labels. So I'm just showing everyone and kind of giving away my tips and tricks of how I make my own labels for all my hand-sewn items that I like to sell. So right now we're just cutting them out on my Cricut. So I'm glad you made it. So now it's just going to go through, and again, it's got that rotary blade. Oh, very cool. So these are, as that's going, I'm just making sure that it's doing what it needs to before I walk away. So you can see it's spinning around and it's cutting out those rectangle shapes. Okay, so the material that we're using for these are an iron-on style. So you can either use this kind, or this is one of the two types I have. Essentially, they are the same. Just that one only came with 3 in a pack. This one came with 10 in a pack, but it's the same thing. So it's by June Taylor. I do have them linked in my storefront. Hopefully they're not sold out again. But that is the iron-on style. And then I also use a sew-in style. And that's what these are. And again, these are also linked. So again, they are 100% cotton. So they are useful for a variety of applications. So again, the ones that we're doing right now are the iron-on style. So usually when I'm making my own tags, I get this going, make sure it's going, without any problems, and then I will go work on another project. So it just, kind of is doing its own thing. But absolutely, again, thank you so much. I have the printer and the Cricut. Oh, yay! Excellent. And people have asked already. I will be posting this live video up on my YouTube channel, so you'll be able to find it there if you need to look back. Okay. But yes, I do like to use the Cricut for a lot of other types of things. So like over here, you'll see behind my huge thing of flex foam. You'll see little hang tags I've made for scrunchy keychains, scrunchy wristlet keychains. I need to learn how to sew the sew-on ones properly. Yeah, and again, if you're trying to do it in a small manner, like again, on my keychains, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see kind of underneath there. So that actually is the iron-on style, but I sew it in place. Because I tried, when I first started making my own, I tried to do that, just the sew-in style, because I'm like, I'm sewing it on. I know it's going to be sewn in, but it wouldn't stay. So that's why I ended up using this iron-on style, because then I could iron it on in place exactly where I wanted it, and then I could sew it in place. So that worked out better. But, you know, these little keychain wraps, genius. So yeah, the little keychain wraps I do on my Cricut as well. I've done, like I said, these little hang tags. I make little lip balm holders, you know, just to identify what those are. I just thought those needed something, you know, just showing them what they are. I've got in here, these are my little cat toy, catnip cat toy cat kicker toys. So I made little wraps for those that have the little, you know, cat face on them. And then I made little price tags that I could put my, I don't know if you can see it. It's got a little UPC code. There's one. So yeah, it just made that easier for people to see. And what else? Oh, the Cricut I also use for my cozy care cards. And then I can put the price tag on the back. So yeah, I've done different ones. You know, obviously this one's a buffalo themed one, so I've got that on there. But like for Christmas themed ones and what else? Oh, Halloween themed ones. I've done special ones for those. I ended up, yeah, I haven't done Easter cozies. I did end up I did way back when, yeah. I did end up making this recently because I thought maybe people don't know what these are, so I made that on my Cricut, print then cut, and just kind of slid that in. I thought that was kind of fun. But I didn't do that for all of them just because, yes, I know, right, Tara? You are right near Fenway. I love that. We used to go to a few games when we lived out that way. Love the Red Sox. So yeah, we're still cutting here. And again, that is the downside. It does take a hot second. But again, that's why I say when I'm doing this, I end up doing something else. But I was going to show over here. Megan brought her mannequin. She's going to be making some clothes. So yeah, I made some different, you know, an ice cream cozy care card. And again, you have to know sizing wise, because if you want to put a price tag on there as well, and, you know, whatever else you want to put on there, obviously you need to, you know, size it properly. But again, like here's an example of the cat kicker toy. So I put the logo on, so when it's wrapped around, it'll be on the back, but then in the front, what is the item, you know, to help explain to the customers. And so here's a better look at the cat kicker toy price tag. And I put on there that it does contain catnip, so people are aware. And then I just made some general tags if I want to throw those on something. But again, you know, just the little details, right? So I cut out, instead of just a circle for where the fastener goes through, you know, I've made it into a heart shape. You know, just a tiny little detail, but I don't know, I think it's fun. Never seen those cat kicker toys before. Yes! Oh, it's fun. May have missed it. Do you glue the wrap label ends? What I actually do is I have found I use double-sided tape. I just literally take a small piece and stick it on one side, and it tends to hold in place. So, yeah. All right, so this is done. Then we hit the button to release. And then, big stretch. And now, when you go to peel it off, it never fails. There's some that don't want to peel off right away. But by just pulling that off, some are going to come off with it. And that's, again, inevitable because, again, just like when you're doing your own rotary cutting, you're not going to get those corners absolutely perfect. So it does take a little bit of time to, you know, get those undone, which I'm not going to...
I want to smooch his paws.
I know, his little baby feet.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Finn will help. Tara said Finn will
Yes,
help.
he will help.
He'll try to eat it, probably.
He will try to eat it, and that's his way of helping. And that's
His toe beans.
know.
There you go, dude.
Oh, Finny.
I know he's loafing.
Yeah. Finny loves to come to Gma's house.
He likes to sew. He's a sewer.
He does. He loves to sew. He loves the sewing machine, and he'll sit right behind the sewing machine and always try to stick his paw where it shouldn't go.
Where the needle's coming out.
All right, so again, I'm not going to bore you guys taking these off. I'm just going to cover that up so that sticky part doesn't get unsticky. So
Make sure when you pull them off.
yeah, good idea, Megan. Thank you for reminding me. So when you pull these off, there is a tendency at times, not all the time, but sometimes that glue sheet that is attached to the back, it does want to stay on the mat. So you just want to be a little careful just when you are pulling those off that you're getting the glue sheet with the cotton piece. So just keep that in mind. But as a rule, most of the time that doesn't happen. You just want to be cautious of that because you don't want to print out 44 of them and then only end up with 22 that you can use to iron on. So that's how you make those. So I had a goat named Finn. Oh, that's awesome. I would love to have a goat. They're just so fun to watch when they get jumping and they just look so happy. So does anybody have any questions about that? Or do you want to go through like in Canva how to do that? Like how you could design something there? I had a goat named Hercules. That's awesome. Oh, goodness. The excitement I had as a kid, I had some guinea pigs. So Justine, okay. Justine says yes. So let's go over in Canva. All right. So let me flip you guys around again and see if I can get you hooked back up on my stand without shutting things down. Okay. So, and then I probably should plug this back in too. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to minimize my design space and then we're going to open up Canva. Now, again, with Canva, there are free versions and then there are paid versions. Now, I have a paid version actually through work, and my boss is okay with me using it for my own small business, so I'm very fortunate with that. But you can use the free version and do a lot with it as well, so just so you know. So essentially, I'm going to just open at the top is where I can just add that plus sign and just open a custom size. And because those sheets are essentially a regular sheet of paper, I'm just going to make it 8.5 by 11 inches and then create new design. So that's just going to open up a brand new canvas, I guess I'll call it. So there's that. Okay. And again, I'm not going to be able to get my whole screen in, I don't think. Because wouldn't that look stupid? Like if I do that?
You could see the whole screen.
Ask everybody what you want. Do you want me to keep it like that, guys? Or just keep trying to put it the other way? I don't know. Because I feel like that's just going to make everyone tilt their heads.
Well, it's a phone or an iPad. You can just tilt it.
Well, I don't know.
What does everybody think?
Yeah, let me know, guys. Is this annoying or should I put it back the other way? Oh, see? Tara agrees with you. She said we can turn our phones. Okay.
Oh, somebody likes it the other way, though. Oh, no.
Well, again, it's not the end of the world. I can do it this way. I can make this bigger, too. So then that's over there. Okay. So, because the big thing is you want to be able to see this, and then I'll make the design right here. So we should be able to see everything here. So, okay. So in Canva, now what you're going to end up doing. So if I try to do the same design that I just did in Design Space, over on the left side here, if you look at elements, elements is where you're going to get, different shapes, different photo options, different graphics, all of that fun stuff. So you can search under elements for anything that you need. And I'm just going to search for a square. All right. So I'm going to click on square and these shapes come up. So I'm just going to click on that and drag it over and lay down a big old square right on my little canvas here. So what's different in Canva is it doesn't exactly have an easy way to tell you how big things are. So that is one downside of Canva.
Even with the free or with the paid version?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's interesting.
What you can do though is when I click and drag that, it is showing me W for width is 2.5 and H for height is 2.2, but it's not as precise as it is in Design Space. So that's the downside. So again, I wanted to do this at 1.5 inches wide. So I'm trying to make it just like I did on my other one. And I want to make it 3/4 of an inch high. So again, this is where that precision is not there. So I've got 0.7 and there's 0.8. So I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. So there's an approximate. Okay. So again, that's a downside of using Canva for this. But if you're not super, if you don't need that super precision, this is going to do just fine for you. Okay, so then once I've got that, now obviously with my brand, royal blue is not the color for my brand. So up at the top where this little blue circle is, that's going to change the color of my now rectangle. So I can actually use the hex color up here. So I can type in, say I want to do it my light pink background. So I'm going to use my FFF 5ED, 5ED, and that's going to pull up my light pink. So now it's changed to a pretty light pink. So we're going to make this one a light pink background. Okay, so there's that. Then again, to do your brand, for this one, I think, I can do that too, but yeah, let's do that. I'm going to upload my logo again and find that in my hard drive. And let's see. We'll use the same one that I did before. So that's here. And now I've just moved it into the canvas. So I'm just going to make that a lot smaller. And now for this one, because I want the background to be pink, I do need to remove the background on this. Now again, for this program, anytime you see that little crown, I guess you can kind of see it. That little crown means that's a paid benefit, I guess. You have to have the subscription to be able to use some of these benefits. So for this, because again, I do have it, I'm able to use that and it will scan it and then remove the background. Obviously, if you don't have that feature, then you're going to be a little bit more restricted with how you can create it, but there's workarounds, I'll say. So now that I've removed the background, I'm just going to kind of make this a little bit smaller and then set that over top of my little rectangle. And then I think I'm going to make that actually even a little bit smaller. So there we go. Now to fully center it, again, just like we did in Design Space, you're going to click and hold and drag it over the items that you're looking to center. And then you click on these 3 dots and you go to Align Elements. And because it's already centered, I've got center here and middle here. They're all grayed out because it's already centered. I'm going to hit group because I want those to stay together. So now when I click and drag it and move it, it's moving all together. Okay. So next, what you're going to end up doing, because obviously, again, if I print this out, it's only going to print one on this paper. So I want to duplicate this. So I want to make essentially a twin right? So I'm going to click duplicate, and I'm going to move it over right next to the other one. So now they are literally touching. Okay, so you can kind of see when I'm moving that in the purple border, that middle border is not moving. So those are perfectly aligned. Then what I'm going to do is click and drag to highlight both of them. And now I want to duplicate the two of them together. So I'm going to hit duplicate, and now I've got both of them. And that is going to help me line it up perfectly. Okay, now I've got room for one more over here. So I'm just going to click on one of them, ungroup it because I don't want to duplicate both of them. Sorry, I do want to group that.
Can I call Samantha? Do you need me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I haven't chatted with her in a couple days.
Okay, that's
I'll
fine.
be back down when I'm done if you're still going.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to keep them all together now. And now I've highlighted all 5 of those. So I'm going to group those all together because now we're going to duplicate rows of 5. So now we've got 10 all together. Now I'm going to highlight both of those, duplicate those, slide those down. And then if we duplicate again, now it knows I'm lining them up. So if I just keep hitting duplicate, it's going to just put it right exactly where I want it underneath. So again, I'm just going to keep going, duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. So now we've got a row of 5 across, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 rows of 5. So if we do some quick math, 14 times 5 is what? 70. So we've got a whole bunch of these. Thank you for the gift. So we've got a whole bunch of these now, right? So up at the top right, there we go. Up at the top right, if all you want to do is just print these out, you can go ahead and save it and then print it. But I'm going to name it first. So I'm going to name this Crafting Therapy Shop Pink Labels 1.5 by 0.75. So I can remember what size. 1.5 by 0.75. So I can remember what size those actually are. So then you're going to hit the share button, and I want to download this. So I want to download it. And again, depending on what you have, my default is a PNG, which is fine. Again, for printing, you can do that. You could print it as a PDF. You could print it as an SVG or a JPEG. I'm going to keep it as a PNG, and I'm just going to hit download. So it's going to ask me where I want to download it to. So I will end up putting that into my hard drive for my personal things. We're going to save that. And now, because I do want to print this out to show you guys, let me get another, again, we're going to use our Quick Fuse iron-on fabric sheets. So I'm going to take one of those, put that into my printer. And so now I'm going to find that file in my computer. And I'm just going to search for pink labels. There it is. And then when I pull that up, I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on print. And right now it's not going to be printing the right way. So I'm hitting portrait. It's going to my Epson 3850. I'm going to switch the paper type to the paper presentation paper matte. And then I'm going to hit more settings because I want to change the output quality to high. And again, you just have to know your own printer settings. And then I just want to do one copy of this. So I'm going to click on print and then we wait. Okay. Oh, thanks, Alicia. Yes, I'm glad to help. Yes. So we're just going to wait for this. Now again, now that we've printed this on out of Canva, I'm not going to be able to cut this out on my Cricut. So again, I will show you guys the alternate way of doing this, and you'll see why I ended up touching them all together when I designed it in Canva. It will make it a little bit easier when we cut this out. Oh, Justine, you're welcome. So again, because I put it on the high quality and it's on what the printer thinks is the presentation paper matte, it takes a little bit longer. But again, for this printer, it does definitely make a difference in the print quality. So again, it does take a little bit longer. So in the meantime, let's talk more about in-person craft fairs. So again, let me know down in the comments, guys, of, your experience with doing in-person craft fairs, because again, that's going to help us kind of, tailor our conversation, about, what goes into planning an event, planning your vendor event and your setup and all of that. So as I said in the beginning, I started my small business back in January of 22 and did my first in-person event in the fall of 22. So it was a 3-day event and I had no idea what I was doing. So since then I have gotten much better, done a few, but we'll be starting a weekly market on May 2nd. No kidding. I'm assuming then it's going to be an outdoor market. And are you going to have a 10 by 10 tent? Are you not going to have a tent? Because that is also a big thing that comes into play. I've done a couple of, many actually, outdoor shows that ended up getting rained on, and I thought my tent was going to bust, and it didn't, thank goodness, but it definitely could have. So you can see outdoors. Just received my canopy yesterday. Yes, good. Shows versus boutique, farmers market. Yeah, exactly. So there's so many different types that you can do, right? My preference now is I don't like to do anything other than 2 or 3 day events. We do an outdoor market on our... Oh, that's right, Alicia. That's awesome. I forgot that you guys do that. That is so awesome. So this is almost done. But yeah, I love to do the two-day events so that you can leave up your stuff. I did a Christmas bazaar. Oh, at a church and did really well. That's awesome. So that was a 1-day event. Because I've done some 1-day events, and boy, it's a lot of work to set up and take down all in the same day and only be, available for like 5 hours. So it's been a bit with change in schedules, but we were there you go. Good. There you go. I actually love doing in-person events. I love the interaction with customers and other vendors. I don't know, I find it to be very rewarding in so many ways for networking, and I don't know, it's just a lot of fun for me. So, and I really feel like a lot of times that's what it's about. In fact, again, the one I'm going to be doing May 3rd, the furnished tables. Oh, there you go. So, even like tablecloths and, your signage and things like that. So again, we will be talking more about that as well. So, now I'm going to end up getting my little neck mount thing, I think. All right. Because I'm going to end up, I'll show you guys a couple different ways that you can cut your tags. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So again, this is how it ended up printing out, right? So you can't really see the lines separating any of them, which is a good thing because, again, you want to be able to cut and not see where the lines were, right? You want to just have it look seamless. So I will show you first, trying to use my little paper cutter. Now, obviously, you would need a super sharp blade for this. But definitely you've got to, look at your lining it up process and cut right down the side, get that first cut done. And then again, you're going to center it between the two different columns. So again, you can kind of get the gist, right? That this is going to be a lot to cut out. You could just use scissors, that would work. But just depending on the tools that you have, obviously, is going to, make it easier or harder, more time consuming. But again, if this is something that you think you're going to be doing a lot of, I would highly suggest looking into, some way of making this easier for yourself. So, but again, there you have what your little tag is going to look like. So cute. And I'll end up cutting those later. But then you could also use your actual rotary cutter. I guess that was my other thinking. So you could just take your little quilting ruler, kind of get it all lined up, squared off, and then just start doing all your cutting that way. So again, there's multiple ways you can do your own tags. And again, these are easy if you're doing like a rectangle or a square shape design. But obviously, if you want to do something that's a little bit more ornate, that's maybe a circle, or if it's like a star shape. Yes, we did print onto fabric sheets. So the sheets that I use over here, I do have them over in my link tree in my Amazon. So that's what I use. So they are cotton, but I also use a sew-in style, and that's what this one is. So again, just depending on the application that you're going to be using it for. Again, there's pros and cons to both. So, but that's what I use. Yes. And I just went over how I use the my Cricut to cut them out. So the sew-in style, you do have to set the ink. So you do take the backing off of it and then iron it to set the ink in place, and it is washable. Yes. So again, on my cozies, I use the sew-in style, and they are definitely washable. Obviously, if you want them crisper after you wash them, they can be ironed as well. So, but as a rule, they stay folded, at least the way that I use them. So again, I just do this style so it's double-sided and sew it in place so it is kind of a little loop. So when you wash and dry it, it does get a little bit wrinkled, but again, you can easily press it. So Michelle, I'm planning to post this entire live on my YouTube channel. So you can definitely find it there. It will be up hopefully within the next day or two. So yeah, no worries. So that's all that. But again, just talking more about craft fairs, in-person craft fairs. So yes, you're welcome. One of the biggest tips I would give people for in-person events, you really, really, really have to think about the layout and your signage. And if it's not something that you've really thought about, I encourage you to really think about your display as if you were a consumer. So my YouTube, the easiest way to find it, it is Crafting Therapy Shop, but if you go into my profile here, on TikTok, you will be able to find my link tree, and it's in there. that's the easiest way to find it and link over to it. So definitely hit the subscribe button over there, because I am trying to put more tutorial videos up on there. It's just taken me a while. So going back to signage, and pricing signs, and just in general, your signage. So again, for me, I have the tablecloths. They're just they're like the spandex, and they have the elastic that tucks underneath all the legs, so it's not the flowy kind, just because I do outdoor events and I didn't want that blowing all over the place. So I do have the kind that is really a snug fit on my folding tables. I actually hand sewed, what was the name of the stuff you put in your bags the other day? Like foam, flex foam. Yes. So that is this stuff. Let me flip this around and then you can. So there we go. So that's the stuff that I used. So let's see. Oh, so going back to tables, I ended up sewing like table runners, and I ended up putting my logo. I got a direct to film transfer of my logo and put that right on my table runners. So again, have my white tablecloths. I have a colored hola from Argentina. Oh my goodness, yay. So yeah, I ended up making, I think, 4 of those, 2 smaller ones and 2 bigger ones for my different size tables. I have 2 6-foot tables and 2 4-foot tables. And that's generally for my double space. It's a 10 by 20 space usually. So you also, again, need to make sure that all of your items are clearly labeled with pricing. As a consumer, think about it. When you go shopping, if you don't know how much something costs, a lot of times you're not going to take the time just to ask somebody, hey, how much does this cost, right? You're just going to walk right on by. So you always want to make sure that you've got things clearly labeled, because that is one thing I have found at my in-person fairs. People don't like to ask that question. So again, I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put my price on everything, and have signage up about, specials, if you buy 2 of something, what is the price, things like that. So, just makes it very clear for the consumer, the customer. So that is a huge tip that I would give to people. Again, branding. Have your brand name everywhere. If you need to get a banner, the vinyl banners. I have one that's, I think, maybe 2 feet by 4 feet that I hang up kind of behind my little checkout stand. And it's just got my brand name on it and my little tagline and the colors, things like that. So again, it makes it easy for people to recognize me, especially if I'm going to be at that event again. Then as they're walking by, they're going to see that, they're going to see me, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember, I got such and such from you last year. And I have had many people that come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I got a keychain from you. So the payments, yes, that's a whole nother can of worms. I ended up getting a Square so that I could accept credit cards. I do not do Venmo. On my website, I've started doing PayPal because I find that a lot of people are trustworthy of PayPal. So I did end up doing that. And I ended up actually, my last craft fair, I ended up upgrading to, so I do have, oh, it's not in there. I got the Square terminal, but then I also got the Square stand, and that's what's in this box. So it actually holds my iPad, so it makes it a lot easier for me to see when I'm checking out people. And then I also make UPC codes for all of my items. So I have a scanner that I'm able to actually scan all of my items. So again, I have so many different things, that I sell. So bags and cozies and everything. And I do make actual tags for everything so that it's real quick and easy to scan and check people out. And for when I am, needing a little break, whether it's to grab something to eat or use the restroom. If my husband is there and helping out, he's able to use that and check people out, scan the items and check people out. I know, right? How do I make UPC codes? Is it easy? It is easy, actually. I found a free program. I believe it's called Zoho.com, Zoho.com. Fully running business. Right, exactly. On there, there's different types of codes that you can select. And I use the one that is a UPCA code. And you can actually create your own numbers. And it works on my system. I don't know if it would work, worldwide, nationwide, whatever. But for me and my little business, those codes do work. So yeah, it's definitely a huge help to be able to do all of that. Just again, it helps me with keeping track of inventory and, all of that jazz. So I do have to keep it up to date because I do have different systems. I use Wix for my website. I use, obviously Square for my UPC codes. And I do have an Etsy shop too, which I don't really do much on anymore. But so yeah, trying to keep the inventory straight with all of that is a little bit difficult. Is it expensive for the Square stuff? You can actually get a Square card reader for like $10, I think. $10, I think. The Square terminal that I got it's I don't know, maybe 6 inches, and it sets right on the counter. And that one was like $200. And then the Square stand that I upgraded to last year, that was, I want to say, like in the $200 range. So with Square, you link your bank, right? Yes, to get your payments from Square. So essentially, Square accepts the credit cards as the payment, and then they, in turn, will then pay that out to you. So like on a weekend show, I don't get the payments right away. I get them all on Monday. Yeah, so I got a free chip card scanner from Shopify. Yeah, okay, so there you go. And the fees, they're pretty standard. I think it's like 2.9% plus, I don't know, 10 cents per transaction or something like that, which is pretty standard. You're going to see that 2.7, 2.9%. And I just have found that, again, I think about me as a shopper. I rarely carry cash, right? So my card, my Apple Pay, yeah. So it's the price of convenience for people, and being able to do that. And you can take that into account in your pricing, I guess. If you feel like you're going to lose out on a lot, raise your price a little bit. Yeah, see the Venmo business account. Exactly. So, and again, no matter how you do it, but in this day and age, you need to be able to accept those credit card payments, because otherwise, again, people are just going to walk right past you if you can't accept it. Granted, I will say, like, one of the shows I do is at it's like a nature center. It is more options, yes. But this venue in particular, their Wi-Fi is horrible. So that is one thing too to keep in mind. They have since added Wi-Fi for vendors. Hey, Anne-Marie, I am good. Glad you made it. So using Square, you are able to still accept certain payments, credit card payments, without the Wi-Fi, but you have to make sure you connect to Wi-Fi to upload all of your information within 24 hours. Well, I'm glad you're here, and now you can hopefully do a little relaxation. Hopefully it was a good appointment too. So again, it is just a caveat, I guess, of using like the Square. You just need to make sure that you can connect to your Wi-Fi so that you don't lose all the payments that you just accepted. So that is a big thing to consider. But a lot of times I end up using, if there's no Wi-Fi at the venue, I will use my phone. Oh, well, good. I'm glad you're getting some me time. So again, I use my phone as a hotspot to hook up to my Square, and that tends to work just fine. So as long as there is a good cell signal, I'm able to do that. Obviously, accepting cash and having a cash box. I do have, and it's not in here, it's out in my garage. I do have a stand, a checkout stand that my dad and I made out of wood. And it's awesome. We made it so it folds up. And actually, back in my TikTok videos, there are, maybe I'll look back and pin them so that you guys can see the video of the stand. But on the stand, if you see it, just underneath the counter, I actually ended up buying a cash box that attaches to it. It's like a cash drawer. And that is really nice too, because again, then I can keep my money right in there. Barrett's esophagus. Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, keep you in my prayers. Esophagus. Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, keep you in my prayers. Definitely. So I'm guessing she's been having troubles with swallowing and stuff too. So, that's so hard. It doesn't matter how old our kids are, right? So again, the being able to transport your money, keeping it safe and things like that. So that's another important thing about an in-person craft event. So, but yeah, so those are just some of my tips, I guess. And again, you do want to think about the layout too of how people are going to be walking through and what they're looking at in your tent or in your booth. I guess another tip I would tell people is think about the vertical space, because that's a lot of wasted space. So, yeah, it's hard to change. Hard, even as a 51-year-old woman, it's hard for me to change. Oh, yes, you're welcome. But yeah, definitely, think about your design as far as your layout for your booth space. I ended up, again, through these 3 years of doing it, I ended up buying this display stand for all my keychains, and it spins around. And again, it's just a better user experience as a consumer. It's got the price clearly up on the top. And again, it gives a nice way of displaying all of my keychains, and I can use it for other things as well if I decide to change up things. Oh, and I also have these for my bookmarks, and those rotate as well. So yeah, keep changing our layout. Just added grid walls for my purses. Yes, exactly. Best sellers at my events. I would say a lot of my cozies. Cozies are a big hit. The bookmarks have been a big hit. I have a lot of people that are members of book clubs, and they end up getting those for gifts to give to their book club friends. The keychains are big sellers. I would say those are the biggest ones. The cat toys, that's one of those that I put by the checkout, which I guess is another thing. I know, bring the kitty. He would sell me out. The cat toys, they are, again, a big seller because I do tend to put them near the checkout. And, obviously if people are waiting in a line, they see that and it's it's only, it's cheap. It's $4. Oh, my little Finny needs one of those. So, again, the psychology, the orange kitties they are unique. They are unique in and of themselves. They're so fun though. So yeah, those are pretty big sellers too. Yes, the personalities. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. So yeah, does anyone have any other questions or, any other tips that they want to share? Because again, this was kind of a different live tonight, but I just thought because everyone's been asking about how I make my tags, I would do that. And again, I can put it up on my YouTube channel, and then people can reference it and see how that goes. So, but yeah, again, I want to say thank you all for being here and joining me. Do I have my pay stand marked, like pay here? I do not, because as a rule, it's pretty evident, as stand marked, like pay here. I do not, because as a rule, it's pretty generally where I stand. The other thing is I do have a director's chair, so it's the higher chair, because I hated sitting really low. Being up high and being able to actually be more eye to eye with people, it just seems, I don't know, seems more conducive to chatting with people. Oh, Kelly, you're very welcome. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, you're welcome, Michelle. So yeah, it's pretty evident to people where to check out. And I have my big checkout stand, the square stand now. So I tried to hand out, business cards. That's actually a great tip too. I do have a little business card holder that I put on top of my checkout stand as well that says, please take one on it. So yeah, a lot of people do take business cards as well. So yes, you're welcome. Definitely. And again, am I an expert? Absolutely not. But I've done a lot of them. So can you make tags with laser printer? So the fabrics that I use specifically say inkjet printer on them and that's what I have. So that's what I was looking for. But I would imagine they do have some that they do work with the laser printers. We have a little mailbox we put our cards in, and we keep dishes. Oh, small candies on our table. My very first craft event, I did that. I had like a lollipop tree. I made a styrofoam ball and put the little dum-dum lollipops all in it. So you have wisdom and experience, which is awesome. Thank you, which is awesome. Yes, thank you. So yeah, I did that for my very first one. And then I was like, what am I going to do with all these when nobody takes them all? I don't need all these lollipops. So I only did that for the very first event, but that was fun. And the little kids, it brought them in with their mom. How do you determine your prices? So you just have to do a kind of a market analysis, I guess I would call it. Look around, scroll through Etsy, but know that on Etsy, there's a lot of people that have to, up their price because of the fees that they are, contending with there. So yeah, like I had my keychains listed over on Etsy for a higher price than I do in person, just because I don't have fees, that are being taken out when I'm selling in person. So, but yeah, it's just a lot of cost comparison. And again, knowing in your own area, obviously, if I am right in Boston versus in rural, maybe South Dakota, the pricing is going to be a little bit different. So you have to be, familiar with your own area. That's why we keep candy we like, so we can split what's left. Smart thinking, very smart thinking. Yeah, see, Julie, they have to be, right? Because again, they take out, I was calculating it was anywhere from 18 to 20% total on one item. So do the math. You've got to make that up somewhere. And then for the free shipping that they have to do, it's crazy. It's truly not free because somebody has to pay for it. Then I have grands, so they're happy for leftovers. There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you all for joining me tonight. And I know it's a percentage on the shipping too. It's ridiculous. Register to win a product if they would take time to leave an address. Yeah, absolutely. And I know for that, sometimes there are limitations. You just have to check kind of with your venue and even your state sometimes, because they sometimes have restrictions on that. I know, exactly. So, and like I said, I don't have all of my stuff over there. It's all on my website now, and I'm just trying to drive the traffic to my own website so that I don't have to pay all those fees. So you're making your stuff to try to make a profit, right? And you want to make as much of a profit as you can. So, But again, guys, I'm planning to do another live probably Saturday. We will be doing some kind of a sewing project. I'm not exactly sure what yet. My daughter, yeah, see, you read my mind. I already charged less than I probably should for my purses. I know. That's what I've told people, because I've made some before, and I'm like, if I were to make these to sell, I would have to charge so much that people wouldn't want to pay it. So thank you, Julie. You have a great night too. Great rest of your week. So my daughter ended up sending me a picture of it looks like a tablet sleeve, but it has 2 pockets on the outside. So, X to G, good. So we're going to do 6 p.m. Eastern Saturday evening. So I don't know what time zone you're in, but yeah, if they pay 85 for a lounge, why not 85? I know, right? Seriously. But people don't look at it that way. They unfortunately don't. They think, oh, you're just making this in your basement. It doesn't take you very long. You do this all the time. No, it takes a lot of time, especially to take the time to make it, as perfect. So I'm in upstate New York. So yeah, up in the we actually got snow today. Mass production versus manual labor. Absolutely. Oh, and there's my daughter.
I'm back.
Did you come to get Finn?
I did. Because he should not be sleeping.
Time to wake the baby. All right, guys. So hopefully you'll join me on Saturday. And I did put it up. It should be listed under my profile. So yeah, so hopefully I will see you guys all on Saturday. And again, if you want to look back on this video, again, it will be posted at some point, hopefully in the next day or two. All right? So have a great rest of your week, guys.